Hey guys, good morning. It's Tony. Before I start the video, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you want to join the Patreon, you can join at patreon.com/but I'm not a trader. It seems like you guys like these kind of videos. I've been using like clickbait stuff to like, how to make $1 million, how to make whatever. And I guess I'll show you guys how to actually do it, because some people have been like, oh, okay, cool. Like some people on like the short end videos have asked for like, okay, like it's cool that you're like clickbaiting and shit, but how do you actually make X amount of like money, right? And as always, not financial advice, bro. Like, this is your money, right? I don't really give a fuck how you spend your money. I'm not an actual financial advisor. I'm not certified or whatever. Even my name is, but I'm not a trader. So, I don't really think I need to say this every single fucking time, but I will. And then also my wife wants me to make these videos. So I'm like, that's fine. But I'm going to make these from scratch, right? So we'll look in the video. I already did Apple in the morning. There was no voice recording, and I'm not going to redo that again because I don't want to. And then Tesla, I already did. You guys can follow that, but it seems like you guys like watching those like from scratch videos that I make from everything. That way it just kind of gives you guys perspective on how I really do like TA and stuff, right? And like always, right, we're looking for the most wicks that we're touching, right? In general, we're looking at generally at points of interest, right? We're looking at reversals, tops, right? So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 general like ranges here, or like tops that we see from this line chart, to make things easier for you guys, right? So you do have this first bottom range here, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to touch every single low, every single wick as much as we possibly can without going into the candles, right? So we could, right? So we use this low here. You could generally hit all these wicks right here, right? See all these wicks right there, and then you hit this low. So what you can do is there you go. So that's gonna be our top of range right there. Like I said, I don't use like this one already closed, so we can definitely use that wick now, and that would definitely put us like around that range here, right? Because we're hitting this wick, and wick, right? And that's going to be the bottom and the top of our range. I generally don't go back anything before this, because why do I care about any support or resistance like, back in May, right? We're not in that range. We're not in that range of $300. We're not even close to that, so I don't really care about that range at all, right? So we have another high point here, right? This little general area. So we'll go wick. We can set it here. Are we touching anything else around this area, right? We're touching this wick right there. So what we can do is, again, you want to go as low as possible without going into a candle, right? And you want to hit that top of the wick right there. So that's going to be your second support and resistance. Obviously you're on the high end, so this would generally be called a support, right? You do have another another range here, right? So you have wicks all around here, all this area right here, a bunch of wicks, right? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a vertical line there. We're gonna keep going up until you hit something. And again, you don't want to go over the candles. And I think this is a general area where you want to hit that little edge of the wick right there, right? So I think we're doing pretty well. We'll do it right there, right? And I think we're pretty much done for our general area of where I think personally, I think we have what, actually, give me a second. I think there's one more. Does this area? Yeah, right here, right? So see, wick, and then these two wicks right there, right? So it looks like we have a really good area of wick, of like a wick support and resistance. We can go a little bit lower, probably like around there. There you go. So I do think that that's a pretty good area. We might have more. This might be another range at like 435. Let me see. We'll go down to the 2-day right now to see, right? But let's look at what we look at first, right? Let's look at let's go down the count, right? So what do? We start on the weekly. You add your support and resistance, which we already did, right? I like to go down to the 2-day. If you don't have like premium or pro, you can't really have custom ranges. So I recommend going down to the daily and just kind of adjusting your support and resistance for a little bit more like accuracy, right? So right here, right? So a little bit more accurate would probably be a little bit lower, like right there, right? Maybe around that range, maybe around there. For the 2-day, maybe a little bit. No, I think we're pretty good. I think we're pretty solid right here, right? So now I like to go from the weekly, right? The weekly, I look at my indicators, right, to let me know where we actually are as far as biases, right? So I'll go to the weekly and I'll look at where we are, right? The weekly right now is, of course, still bullish, right? So the weekly is bullish, but you are starting to lose that bullish momentum, and that's what this little dark blue candle down here on my reverse MACD, right? And these are all custom indicators, right, which you can grab at patreon.com/but I'm not a trader, right? Selfless plug. If you guys want to grab it, all my courses are there. If you guys want to learn how to trade, plenty of awesome people on there. But this is my, this is generally what I do. I go on the weekly, I check. So it looks like you're right now, I'd say bullish neutral, right? Because you're still technically on a bull cycle, right? But if you go down to the 2-day, you already closed a 2-day bear trigger on Wednesday, right? You're going to open a fresh on Monday. And the 2 days are extremely impressive, right? And I would highly recommend my indicators just for these 2-day closes. And again, you do need a pro or premium to run these, right, on your trading view. So I mean, you can kind of tell how accurate these have been since, September, right? Every single trigger has been on point. November, right? On October 17th, on September 29th, right? On September 5th, right here on August 21st, right? And again, down here, right? And again, we're only looking at perfect entries, right? Perfect entry on NVDA. This one was not really good, but this one you would have been out immediately after you actually passed this open of that trigger there, right? So 2 days are generally do pretty well, and really any market, right? So the 2 days give you a really good idea of where you can actually drop pretty massively, especially with NVIDIA being where it's at right now. My bias right now, especially after this rejection, 49897, right, which is our weekly resistance, and then also our 2-day close that just happened this Friday. On a Monday, I can already expect that we'll see some kind of flush to the low side. So if you're looking more like an intraday, right, this is definitely going to come in handy more when you're going like on a 15-minute, right? So on a 15-minute, obviously you want to trade like the lower time frames, but we're looking at the general range of where the market's going, and we can see here, right, you obviously closed a bear 2-day trigger, right? And it looks like every single time, you do extremely well to the low side, right? These pushes are pretty heavy. So we'll go from right there. We'll go to bullish trigger. We'll see how low we dropped, 86 points. Same thing here from the high, right? You dropped a little bit. You dropped 77 points, right? And this is 21, 18 days. We'll do a average. We'll do the higher, right? We'll go 21 days. 21 days out, 86.77. So we'll do 21 days. We'll do an 86 count, right? 86, 87, sure, same thing. And then we'll also do a $77 drop. $77 drop on that 21-day out, right? So this is kind of what I'm expecting right now, just from how responsive the triggers have been, right? I'm looking for something in the range of this 416 to like 425, right? That's generally what I'm looking for right now as far as NVIDIA. But I want to see more breaks to the low side, right? So we haven't even broken this 471 weekly support, right? And I'm pretty sure this is going to be a heavy support. Like, you have to break this to the low side to basically say that we're going to go to 451. You have to break 451 to say that we're going to go to 411, right? And you have a gap here at 424. So if you break to the low side right here on the daily, you're going to go to 452. If you break to the low side and you close a candle, like a candle like this to the low side, you're probably going to 411, because you really don't have too much support or resistance in between these two weekly ranges, right? And you can even use other chart types, right? Like you have your Heikin Nishi on the daily, right? Look at that. Heikin Nishi on the daily has been, for the most part, extremely accurate, right? The 2-day, right? The 2-day has been very accurate when it comes to actually taking these shorts to the low side, right? 2-day, drop, 2-day. There you go. 2 days, 2 days, 2-day, drop. So, we're looking at really good momentum towards the downside, right, for right now. And even if we look at the Renko chart, which I like to use on the hourly, right? On the hourly, right, you've been bearish since November 15th, right? And you actually just closed it here. So I'd argue that you're probably going to keep going down until you close a fresh little Renko bullish candle there. So, we'll see what happens there. But everything, look, even the 4-hour is going to be closing Friday. Yeah, this is going to be opening on Monday on a fresh 4-hour bear. So there you go. See, even the 4-hour bear on Renko is already going down. And if you can see historically, the 4-hour tends to be extremely accurate as well, unless you're unless you're running on like some stupid bull cycle, right? And here, this was back in October 2021, right? Why doesn't this go back further? This is November 2016, just a straight bull market on NVIDIA, which is wild. But yeah, for right now, yeah, there's no reason to be long right now on NVIDIA or think that it's gonna squeeze anything higher, right? So that's what I generally look at. This is like, this is how I look at like my TA and stuff. And more longer range, I'd say that within the next 2 weeks, month or so, I definitely see this come down to this gap fill at like 423, right, which is basically this 425 level that it's giving us, right? So a gap fill here, what could happen from here is that you actually end up creating a lower high. So you end up doing something like that, where you from here come down, hit that gap, and then you start pushing towards the upside, right? But if you break this low, if you break this, right, if you end up going lower than this, you're in for a pretty big world of pain, sorry. And NVIDIA is probably going to see lower prices. But again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think you'll probably come down to lowest like 423, fill that gap, and then bounce. And then we probably hit a Santa rally by the end of the year, possibly going into towards January, right? So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the full TA. If you wanted to make X amount, right? So let's say we do drop to 425 right here by 1213. We can actually have a Python script that returns this to me. But for you guys, right? Because you guys don't have, like, maybe you guys don't have coding, or you guys don't have like a script to go by. If we're looking, right, if you're trying to see that NVIDIA is going to be down at 425, right? And again, this is kind of risky, right? Like, it takes some time for, like, 425s are way out of the money. Again, not financial advice. Do whatever the hell you want. I would personally grab like 471 and then 450s at risk, right? That's like a risky play, 450s. But 471s, I generally grab 471s because they're safer in the money, and then just hold while they're in the money all the way towards down here, right? But we're doing, the target right now is 1213. So let's go with a little bit of time. If you want to be risky, do December 15th. December 22nd seems like the better option, right? We're looking for puts on NVIDIA, and we're looking for what kind of return, right? So if you actually buy like a 470, you're looking at, a gain of 1385 to 1855 per contract, right? If you want to be a little bit riskier, obviously, you would buy the 450s, right? That what we said? Oh, sorry, 425s, right? So the 425s would be 270, right? So you would run these 425s from 270 to 1855, right? Which I don't know how much the return is. That's what? That's a 6.8 return. So if you put $1,000 in there, right? Obviously you're making 68. You're making like $7,000, right? But again, that 425 is a little bit on the risky end, just because it's so far out the money, and unless you have like a lot of time, theta is gonna like destroy you, right? So if you really want to make some dough on this, I would be on the safer side and go with 470s, 450s, and you're probably looking for something closer along the lines of like maybe 150% return over the next month or so. And this is a lot of time, right? This is a lot of time. This is December 22nd, right? If you want to be a little bit riskier and you think that maybe we're going to hit this in the next 2 weeks, right? Go with December 15th, right? Right on there. So if this does drop, right, significantly, let's say you go to 425, right? 425, you're at 175. If these go in the money, you're looking at a 10x, right? While I do think that's extremely risky, that's not something that, I would recommend at all. I definitely look for more contracts that are, more in like the 100% return, right? So if I were to do this, I'm looking at in the money, which are 480 at 1650. I'm looking for something in the range of like an $800 so I can make a full 100% return if it does run lower, right? So I'd probably be more comfortable buying these 460s at 800 to make a full 100%. But again, that's everybody's choice. These are options. You can also short on margin, short on Forex, short wherever the hell you want, right? You figure it out yourself. But again, this would essentially be my target just from kind of looking at this, doing the quick TA, and after it starts breaking these levels and stuff. But I don't want to say I'm pretty sure, but I'm definitely looking for NVIDIA, I'll even add an alert here, to drop down all the way here to like a 423 to fill that gap before you essentially just kind of bounce and then go back up. So if you guys do like this format of videos, definitely like, subscribe, and comment. You know, I'll try to make more of these. It's just I hate making these because they take so much time, bro. Like I gotta take like 10-15 minutes out of my day to make these. But you know, I'll make these every once in a while for you guys, you know, like TA from scratch. That way you guys learn, and you know, that way, you know, you guys can, you know, kind of start doing like your own TA and stuff or whatever. If you want more information on how to use like the indicators, if you want to add them, or if you want other stuff, you know, again, join the Patreon. Patreon is patreon.com/but I'm not a trader, right? Plenty of people there are doing fantastic. I'm not going to go any further into this because it's like a small knit community. I'm not about having 10,000 people in my thing, in my, like, you know, chats and everything, because it gets too like, things get too like convoluted and it's hard to follow. So, you know, there's like about 100 people right now, which, you know, it's I think it's great, man. I don't think it's all that bad. And it's a lot more personal, which I really like. So with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend, and I will see you guys on maybe tomorrow or Monday. I don't know, bro. I don't know how often I'm gonna make these videos, so I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.